politics. Lerp, you weren't even watching the show. Don't even lie to me, bro. You just came in just to yell at me. Nope. Yeah, okay, sure. Somebody was watching this. I didn't get the chance to watch it, so I wanted to watch it on stream. America is bad at everything. Where's Mega? I'm sure he wants to argue.
America is the greatest country
this is the right
on
one,
Earth.
right? Yeah, this is the right one.
The strongest, the richest, the most powerful country on Earth.
America.
As an American, I'm sure you've heard that roughly 135 times a year. 235 if you go to public school. 335 if you go to a Christian academy. We're told that Americans have the best lives of any people in the world. That we have low taxes, small government, and the highest living standards on Earth. And most inaccurately, that we're the freest. Well, it is partly true.
Freedom,
America
bitches.
is the richest country, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. It's really hard to comprehend just how rich we are. We have 18 million people who are millionaires. American households own about
Whoa! 18 million people who are millionaires? Think about that for a second. 18 million people who are millionaires, not 18 million. Like, what the fuck?
$100 trillion in wealth, an almost unthinkable amount of money. Okay, so America is the richest country ever. But there's a curious paradox. Most Americans actually have a much worse standard of living than people who live in poorer countries like Germany or Finland or Britain. But how can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them. So of course our services are worse, and thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries. Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon dog to the other cartoon dog. And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add federal, state, local, and sales taxes and include other costs and services that our taxes don't cover but other countries' taxes do, like our uniquely high health insurance premiums, you'll find that Americans actually give away more of their wages than most of the developed world. For example, in Canada, for a married worker with 2 kids, all of the previously mentioned costs combined, from taxes to health insurance premiums, make up only 11% of the average wage. In the UK, it's just about 26%. Meanwhile, once you tack on the cost of our outlandish health insurance premiums, you're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more than France, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. In real reality, Americans keep much less of what we own than in other countries. In other countries, their government takes a bit more tax, but then gives that money back to their citizens in the form of healthcare or job support, or a general safety net for all vulnerable citizens, no matter how dusky they are. So what do Americans get for the money we pay in? Well, sure, we get a crumbling infrastructure, shameful homelessness, and millions of hungry, neglected children, but we also get some of the worst services in the developed world. Again, our healthcare. American healthcare is simultaneously the most expensive, the least efficient, and the least effective healthcare system in the developed world. Hey!
The developed
devil's
world.
trifecta. And in exchange for this extremely expensive, inefficient healthcare system, what do we get? Well, we get some of the worst health outcomes in the developed world. We have fewer hospital beds per capita than people in Turkey or Brunei. Americans have a lower life expectancy than people in Lebanon or Cuba. And in the Mississippi Delta and much of Appalachia, life expectancy is lower than in Bangladesh.
We have wait, hang on. This is our region. That ain't cool, bro. Wait, we have a lower life expectancy.
In fact, in 2017, the United Nations sent a commissioner to West Virginia
Bangladesh?
to document what he saw, and he described, quote, third world conditions of absolute poverty, unquote.
Actually true. I've been to Virginia, dude.
We even have a higher infant mortality rate than people in Russia and Serbia. In every single metric, America does worse across the board. So why is healthcare so expensive? Because it's so complicated. You have to look for in-network physicians, schedule an established care appointment, beg for coverage from your insurance company that couldn't care less about you, and that's if you're lucky enough to have good insurance. Compare that to Britain and all of those other evil, socialist-like countries where it's simple. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. That's it. I'll repeat that. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. And here's the best part. Even though Britain offers healthcare for free, their system is actually a lot cheaper to run than ours. Per capita healthcare spending in the US is almost 3 times what it is in Britain, and almost 5 times what Canadians spend. In fact, Americans spend the most per person of any country in the world for health.
The Canadians are 5 times cheaper?
Healthcare. But the free market is more efficient, you screech. But in America, private systems often
Chad, I'm moving to Canada.
aren't efficient at all. Private drug companies have an incentive to charge whatever they can get away with for pharmaceuticals. In Canada, a carton of insulin costs about 20 bucks. In the US, it costs 300 bucks. And with private insurance companies footing the bill, hospitals have an incentive to get as much money out of patients as possible too. In 2015, the average cost of an
Foreigners can't buy houses in Canada? That's not true. Weren't they just having an issue where like the Chinese were buying up all their houses and shit? It was literally like something I heard on the news like not too long ago.
MRI scan in the US was $1,119,
like a problem for them.
but it was only $215 in Australia.
I don't have to buy a house. I can just go rent a place, dude, and then like get you get citizenship, and then you Trudeau is saying that he will make that a thing if reelected. Really? So what you're saying is I got to get in now.
Okay, we get it. We all know that American healthcare is so much more expensive, you say, but that's the cost of having the freest freedom in God's favorite country. Well, guess what? Medical procedures that are totally free in Britain, like giving birth, cost tens of thousands of dollars in the United States. I mean, you want to talk about the cost of freedom. Sadly, because of these high costs, Americans often
tens of thousands? Wait. According to data collected by Fair Health, the average cost of having vaginal delivery is between $5,000 and $11,000 in most states. Numbers are higher for C-sections, with prices ranging from $7,500 to $14,000. What the fuck? With their insurance, you pay like $8,000. Yeah, but insurance is expensive too. Jesus fucking. You see, my mom's been talking about like fucking insurance and stuff recently, considering getting like some insurance or something. I'm like asking her prices and shit, and she's talking these numbers. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean? That's more than fucking car payments. That's like a house. That's like a fucking mortgage payment. What do you mean insurance?
One day off of work beyond what Walmart's policy allows. So of course, Walmart's gonna Walmart, which they did by firing her. Without her job, she lost her nominal health care coverage, she struggled to find new work.
I'm having a baby. Congrats, you're fired.
Avoiding a visit to the doctor.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little death. What the fuck?
Flu-like symptoms. She was found dead in her apartment.
Didn't go to the hospital and died. Yeah, sounds about right. Though I'm pretty sure that even if you go to a hospital, they're like forced to treat you. But then again, the reason she didn't go is because she couldn't afford it. She was avoiding it. I know that if you go to a hospital, they'll treat you. But then again, getting people to go to a hospital.
They frequently can't afford it. Simple, life-saving treatments can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't have really good insurance, they're forced to take on medical debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe medical debt, often into the tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, in a country like Britain or Norway, medical debt is almost unheard of. But hey, that's why GoFundMe is such a critical component of American healthcare. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. I'll repeat that. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. America is such a strong, powerful, rich, and great country that its citizens have to beg.
How does it feel being the GoFundMe site like Founders, where you made this site so the businesses can grow, but then like all you get is like people who go on here and they're fucking medical bills. That sucks. But then I also saw recently like a whole bunch of people who were the fucking anti-vaxxers, and they're like faking getting sick from taking vaccinations, and they're making GoFundMe pages for their medical bills and shit. Like they're pretending that they are getting sick because of the vaccinations, and they made a GoFundMe page. I've seen like a few of those, but how many of those are GoFundMe get filled? That's a good question. Every time I go on there, a lot of things that I see GoFundMes for never get filled. But then again, there are the like random ones where it's like, hey guys, I made a GoFundMe for weed, and then he gets like 10 grand. So I don't know. If the solution is paying Norway level of income tax, then my answer is no. Give me something better. The idea is that you're getting things in return for that taxed. And then actually, from what he was saying in the beginning, we're paying more because of the way the system is now. You're paying more technically, because then you've got all the like local and federal and state taxes. And then you've also got your insurance bills. And then you've also got, you know, all these other things that you're paying for that you wouldn't have to pay if you're in the system. So technically you end up paying more anyways. That's actually like one of the most strongest arguments I've heard. Because yeah, fuck taxes, but like if you end up paying more, then what do you mean?
Has the least generous job support programs, the least generous family benefits, and the least generous unemployment benefits of any wealthy country. It's one of the only countries on Earth that doesn't guarantee paid time off for vacations. It doesn't even help provide paid time off for parents who just had a child. And it's not coincidental that we're also one of the most hostile countries to workers' rights. America has one of the lowest unionization rates in the entire world.
True.
Maybe this deprivation, our refusal to give...
Though I can't really decide whether or not unions are a good thing. I don't know. They like were back in the day, and then now they're like frowned upon, at least in America. I don't even know, dude. And then like there's the unions with the cops where everybody's like, we're frowning upon the cops union because they're keeping all these cops that shouldn't be employed. So
people the means to lead a good, dignified life commensurate with how rich our country is can explain a bit of what we've seen in the United States over the last few decades. Fraying communities, rising rates of depression and suicide, huge numbers of deaths from drug overdoses. These so-called deaths of despair, suicide, drug overdoses, alcoholic liver disease, they're one big reason why American life expectancy has actually started to decline over the last few years. And with such poor conditions...
Wait. What is the life expectancy in 2021 exactly? Oh, wait, no, they don't have anything that recent. So as of 2018, 78.5 years. I had some people in my family who like hit 100, and then I had like a whole bunch that like got cancer and shit. So who knows? I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. I guess they do speak English. I'm like, if they spoke English, I wouldn't really be like, if it wasn't for the fact that all the money's here, all the people I know are here, I'd be found for Norway. Norway sounds fucking amazing.
Country, and the highest percentage of workers earning significant...
At this point, he's just propaganda? Well, I mean, he's not wrong, though. What do you mean? What has he said that's inaccurate?
Across every single metric, no people accept a worse deal than Americans today.
I don't know, dude. There's always fucking like Afghanistan and shit, so I don't know. But all the happy people in Denmark, that is subjective. Oh, you're right about that. But I do think that they would probably argue for rather than against. Most likely. They're on board with it as a country, like all those countries are. So, you know, I imagine on average they would probably be for it rather than against it. So it's not completely out of the ballpark.
More money taken from workers for the highest rate of child poverty. We are the richest country in the history of the world, but we have fewer miles of high-speed rail than Uzbekistan.
That does bother me. That actually bothers me, the rail thing. I don't know why we don't have fucking trains everywhere. We should have public transportation out the wazoo. That actually bothers the shit out of me.
Most people in prison of any country, and the highest incarceration...
And the prison thing, bro.
Rate as well.
He's
and
right
a
about
higher
this.
rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America has as much money as possible from working people into the pockets of the well-connected and the ultra-rich.
All right. Here's where I get off board because, okay, I don't think anybody actually thinks about it that way. What they think about is, hey, I've got this much money and I'm going to pay this much taxes if I don't vote for this. So I'm going to vote for this and I'm going to pay less tax. That's what they're thinking. His conclusion here is agreeable. What, you think this is what they're, going for? They're going for pulling out the money from the working class and giving it to the rich? Because I don't think that's actually what people are going for. I think just everybody's in it for themselves. Self-serving politicians. Oh, well, there I agree. I think there's a whole lot of self-serving politicians. I don't think that anybody is actually thinking like this, though. I think they're thinking, what's the best thing that I could do for myself? Because, self-serving. Everybody's self-serving. That's why you got to take like money out of politics and shit, because where's the incentive not to,
Well, that. I'm David.